This is a CBS 17 Storm Team alert.
The alert day is officially over, but the mess from today's weather remains.
We have live team coverage tonight, but we first start with Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Wes Hohenstein. Wes.
Well, the rain has moved out, the cold front has moved through, and one of the wettest 48-hour periods we've ever lived through is finally over. A good amount of rain, though, along our coast and pushing offshore, but our radar is dry for the most part. Still a little bit of drizzle out there, and that's something we'll see overnight and early tomorrow, but drastic improvements with sunshine and warmer temperatures as we head into your Friday. Now, looking back at the last 48 hours, many of us got that 2 to 5 inches of rain that we had forecast. However, the bullseye, unfortunately, was an elongated one that encompassed most of the I-95 corridor, where those areas saw 5 to as much as 10 inches of rain. And even though the severe weather threat and the flash flood warnings are over, there are still flood warnings for all of central North Carolina because there are still some roads that have water over them. That will continue through tomorrow morning. Then we can sound the all clear there. And of course, we'll have to keep an eye on some river flooding. We'll talk about that in about 10 minutes. However, tomorrow, while it will be cloudy and mostly dry with just a little bit of sprinkle or drizzle action, it will be much cooler too. This morning, it was about 70. Tomorrow morning in the mid to low 50s. And by lunchtime, we'll see the sun come back out as temperatures climb into the 60s. But there is another cold front on the 10-day. That's going to make things much colder. I'll tell you when that arrives in just a few minutes.
Now, local news that matters. This is CBS 17 News.
Tonight, a baby and adult are still missing after flash flood waters destroyed several homes and a campsite in Alexander County.
And in Roseville, emergency workers recovered the body of a child that drowned in a raging creek. CBS 17's Mackenzie Stasko in Roseville tonight for us. Mackenzie.
Well, Angela, police say the boy was near this creek behind me in Roseville earlier this afternoon, and with all of that heavy rain, the creek flooded and that boy somehow got swept away. First responders got the call around 12:15 this afternoon, searching the creek and wooded area that runs behind Lord Granville Way. About an hour later, police found the boy unresponsive in the creek near Massey Branch Drive, about a quarter-mile away from where he was last seen. Neighbors tell me on a normal day, the creek is calm and that it's common to see kids playing here. But with about 5 inches of rain falling here over the past 2 days, the creek can widen quickly and become unpredictable. And just another reminder to stay away from creeks and out of those creeks when heavy rain is moving through. At the moment, the Roseville Police Department is not releasing the boy's identity. Live in Roseville, Mackenzie Stasko, CBS 17 News.
This is incredibly scary. Okay, we're backing up. We're backing up. Just right here, live on TV.
The reporter and photographer from our sister station in Charlotte safe after this happened on live TV. Amber Roberts was reporting on the flooding near the Hiddenite Bridge in Alexander County when a portion of that bridge broke off and washed away in the raging waters. Wow. And this is what a lot of neighborhoods look like once the rain slowed down. This is from the Riverwood Athletic Club neighborhood off of Nelson Lane in Clayton. You can see how high the water got along the greenway there.
And parts of Johnson County hard hit by today's storms. Firefighters in Selma had to rescue dozens of people from homes and cars. CBS 17's Amy Cutler is live tonight. And Amy, can any of those families stay in their homes tonight?
Well, Angela, fortunately, some of this flood water has started to recede, and so some residents can return here to the Redwood Apartments in Selma, where so many water rescues had happened earlier today. Just to give you an idea of the kind of flooding, this area where we're standing had been completely underwater. Neighbors I spoke with say they expected rain, but not the heavy, sustained kind they experienced. Cell phone video captures firefighters rescuing residents from the Redwood Apartments in Selma. The fire chief telling me in all, 27 people needed help. The water rose quickly, catching many here off guard.
I see water coming up to the doorstep, more to the doorstep, and I was like, wow.
Kevin Amador took that video. He tells me it was hard to watch. It brought back painful memories from Hurricane Matthew when his family lost everything.
Hurricane Matthew just flooded us all out. I thought it was going to happen again.
Fortunately, the floodwaters didn't get into his home this time. Memories of Matthew also still fresh for Lakeisha Nicholson. She wasn't taking any chances.
We just decided to leave.
I was panicking. I had no clue what to do and just try to be safe.
Nicholson and her 9-year-old son Xavier packed up the car.
Food, we have clothes. Some of our stuff is kind of wet because when we left from here, it was wet. The water was already, when we left from over there, it was already almost to our knees.
Parts of Pecan Road and Dixie Drive also flooded. Oglathia Justice came home to find this mess.
I don't know if I can get out to go to work tomorrow. I don't know how that's going to work.
She tells me at least one driver had to be rescued from their SUV just down the road.
Now, the Selma fire chief tells me tonight several roads in and around town remained flooded tonight. So if you're headed out, you want to keep that in mind. The concern now turns to the Neuse River, which is not expected to crest until Saturday. Live in Selma, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.
All right, Amy, good information. Now, because of the continued threat of high water, students in Johnston, Harnett, and Wayne counties will not have in-person learning Friday. All classes for these school districts will be online only.
Tonight, I-95 in Wilson County is closed once again. DOT hopes to have it open by 5 Friday morning, and parts of I-95 North in Johnston County remain closed and won't reopen until around 5 tomorrow night. And this is video from Sky I-17 earlier today in Wilson County. We told you last night at 11 that this same stretch of road was closed last night because of the rising waters. And you can get the latest forecast information as well as real-time traffic maps using the CBS 17 News and weather apps. Just search for CBS 17 in your app store.
New at 11, new numbers in the race for North Carolina's Supreme Court Chief Justice. For the first time since Election Day, incumbent Sherry Beasley has pulled ahead of Republican Paul Newby. She now has the lead by just more than 1,000 votes. Newby and Beasley both hold seats on the Supreme Court bench, but their terms expire at the end of the year.
New at 11, a Durham police officer had to be treated by EMS after a driver hit his patrol car. Now, according to investigators, officers were checking out a suspicious car in the 700 block of Liberty when the driver suddenly took off, hitting one patrol car. The officer's injuries are not serious, and we are still working to find out what happened to the driver of that car.
A breaking news update to a story we first brought you at 6. 2 people are dead and a child in the hospital after a home invasion. Fayetteville police say Tyshawn Talley and Linnell Lewis were shot and killed in their home on Sleepy Hollow Drive around 3 this afternoon. 2 children were in the home at the time. One was shot and taken to the hospital.
It was a juvenile that had called the police. The 2 adults that were shot inside the home, they're related to each other. Also, another juvenile that was inside of the house was also shot.
Anyone with information about this crime should call Fayetteville Crime Stoppers. New at 11, Goldsboro police make an arrest in a cold case murder. Tyrone Johnson is charged with second-degree murder for the death of 19-year-old Atiyah Maddox in July of 2016. The teen was taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound and later died. Johnson was arrested while in custody in Wayne County on unrelated charges.
We've been telling you shootings are up more than 40% in Durham this year. 274 people have been shot. Several of those have been children. Today, the mayor and police chief outlined different ways the city plans to tackle that problem. One big ticket item of the plan is the need to attack root causes and to adequately fund services for mental health, drug treatment, and health care.
We can't do this by ourselves. We are just one cog in the wheel. And we are at the end of the process when it comes to the criminal justice system. There's much work to be done at the grassroots level to deal with the root causes of crime.
Mayor Schultz says city staff is currently reviewing the proposal. Another record-setting day for new coronavirus cases in North Carolina, 2,893. And to slow the spread of the virus, UNC wants students to get tested for COVID-19 before going home for the Thanksgiving break. And as CBS 17's Nick Sturdivant found out, the school is also encouraging students to keep the necessary safety measures in mind while at home.
as UNC students prepare and make sure they are ready for finals. The university also preparing to make sure they can handle the last-minute rush of COVID-19 tests before the semester ends.
What we're doing is we're extending our hours in the student union until 7 p.m. each night.
Ken Pittman is the executive director of Campus Health. He says extended hours start Monday.
And we're asking those students to kind of time their testing within a day or two before they plan to leave campus.
So I'm probably gonna get tested probably 2 or 3 days before I go back home for Thanksgiving, just to make sure that I'm not putting my family at risk.
But for the university, the biggest concern is not just making sure students get tested, but what happens when they go home.
Our semester is going to end prior to Thanksgiving. I think that all of us can agree that there are some students who are not going to return home and spend 49 days with their parents.
It's just kind of been a stressor to be here. So going home is like we're going to be somewhere where we know we're contained.
Thursday, Governor Roy Cooper announced more than 74,000 rapid tests will be sent to public and private colleges and universities across the state. But Pittman says while the school will continue to test, it also wants students to stay within their family bubbles and wear masks around those who are at risk in hopes of eliminating a potential spread when they come back. In Chapel Hill, Nick Sturdivant, CBS 17 News.
Wake County schools say as more students go back to the classroom, there will be less social distancing. Monday, the number of kindergarten through third grade students in class will increase. So the district released new guidance saying classrooms are not expected to maintain 6 feet of space between students. Effective immediately, if a student or employee doesn't pass the health screening, everyone in that household must go home and quarantine for 14 days unless they receive an alternate diagnosis or a negative COVID-19 test.
A new survey is highlighting the different impacts COVID-19 has had on people in North Carolina. The United Way of North Carolina survey showed the #1 concern for people was they worried about a loved one getting COVID-19. More than 8,500 households said they struggled to provide for their basic needs, maintain work, and access child care.
We need to have this conversation so we understand how to invest dollars in the local community to really kind of meet these needs as they unfold over time. And I hope other funders join us in that because, you know what, it's going to take every single one of us to try to figure this out.
NC 211 is here for North Carolinians struggling to provide for their families' basic needs. For more information, just go to our website, cbs17.com. And since our news at 6, the U.S. Coast Guard has stopped its search for a missing Raleigh man and his friend, George Andrews and Bill Merriman IV, were last seen Sunday leaving Atlantic Beach for a fishing trip. Their overturned boat was found Tuesday near Beaufort Inlet. The Coast Guard spent about 58 hours searching approximately 8,600 square miles.
A busy 24 hours for the CBS 17 Chevy Weather Beast. We've had the Beast tracking rain since last night at 11. And here's a live look from the Beltline in Raleigh, where conditions aren't too bad. The wipers not going as quickly west as they were earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, a little drizzle and mist now. But yes, last night we did have a decent amount of rain. It was also 70 degrees last night at this time. Tonight, not so much, 50s and 60s. That's after one cold front. It gets a lot colder after the second. I'll update you on the timing of that front and tell you when to expect 30s right after this.
The CBS 17 Storm Team Weather Beast, powered by Central Carolina Chevy dealers.